Hello, I'm Deborah Sword.
Hi, I'm Tyson Bankert. Deborah, I have a question for you. Have you ever gone through a friend breakup?
I have, and it was very painful.
Hmm. So have I, and sometimes my patterns are feel like they're very communicative. I explain why I'm no longer wanting to be in this relationship, or we create some boundaries, or we identify maybe what the problem is. And then other times, depending on how important the relationship is to me, I just sort of bow out, or ghost, or create some way of maybe not always handling it or being really clear about why I'm disengaging and I'm wondering for you, has there ever been a time where you maybe didn't always communicate prior to that friendship breakup?
Yeah, good question. So I'll be very clear that the one I'm least proud of
Mm.
was one of the motivations for getting into this line of work because I,
Oh.
I didn't know how to communicate.
Mm.
It was a very lovely woman who was interested in having me as a friend.
Hmm.
And she kept wanting to go to events that I couldn't afford. I was a student
Hmm.
and didn't have a lot of income. I was starting out in a different career, and I couldn't keep up. I
That could be hard.
I had studies, I had a limited income, I had expenses. I could not keep up with her. And she would invite me out, and I would say I was busy until eventually she stopped inviting me out.
Mm.
So I should have just said, you know what? I really want to be your friend. Can we just go for coffee?
Right,
I could afford coffee for an hour.
right,
I have 1 hour between classes or
right.
studies or my paper being due. Let's go for coffee. But no, she wanted to go to concerts and stay and then out for a drink afterwards. And then I was too tired to go to class the next day. And I never had the courage to tell her.
Hmm. It Reflecting back on that moment, what do you think would have happened if you said, "Hey, I can't afford, or I can't keep, or can we do other things together that maybe are a bit more affordable?"
Then I would have accepted that I gave her choices and
Mm,
it would be up to her to decide.
right,
And that would have been a mature relationship. I
right.
would have said, here are my boundaries.
Hmm.
Here is what is possible.
Hmm.
And I want to be your friend, and not I want to be your friend, but I want to be your friend. And in order to be my friend, you have to accept my limitations. You decide.
Mm.
And I would have treated her like a grown up, which I
Yeah.
did not do.
Mm.
Not
Mm.
proud of it.
Okay, but and for you, ending that friendship was a matter of financial, like being able to financially, or was there other pieces
No,
that maybe you?
it was mostly financial in
Okay.
that I couldn't stay up late and go
Yeah.
to an early
Hmm.
morning class.
Interesting. Okay.
And if I had told her, I would have given her the opportunity to express caring for my situation. I didn't give her that opportunity. What about you? Have you
Mm.
done a breakup that you learned from?
Yeah, I think yeah, absolutely. You telling me? Yeah, absolutely. I think about a situation in which a friend there was our values were not aligning, and I was starting to notice in the way that they spoke and the way that they acted and the way that they treated other people that didn't really um, uh, mesh with the way I also felt like other people should be treated. And not that they were a bad person or not that they were initially mean, and but it just kept, and I never really shared with them that I didn't like that. There were subtle things, and they weren't picking it up either, but I wasn't very clear.
What was the reason you weren't clear? What held you back?
I think it was because at the end of the day, I think what it was I didn't want to be associated with them. Like I didn't want to be within same. I don't want other people thinking that I was like that person. And so it wasn't even necessarily always their values. It was, because there was a louder person than I was. And so it was almost like as if I were to have said, hey, like, I'm not really interested. You start to imagine the conversation though, right?
Oh,
And but you
yes.
never really imagine what it looks like on the other end that maybe is resolved, right? You always think about all the reasons why not. And but to answer your question, I think it came down to um association.
So why didn't you tell the person that you were?
Because I don't think that they needed to change. I think ultimately I was like, this is who you are, this is who I am, this is my own baggage and my own responsibility. And me asking you to be someone different for me to feel better about being around you didn't feel right for me. And so it was better for me to just distance myself, and being able to communicate that with them didn't feel right. And so, because I think, and ultimately at the end of the day, they wouldn't change either, I don't think, because why should you?
And then you might have been disappointed that they
Yes,
didn't
exactly,
accommodate you.
exactly.
So those are some excellent obstacles that
Hmm.
we each had different reasons. Um, and my situation motivated me to change, to learn,
Hmm.
to expand my conflict competencies. So perhaps our listeners have also
Yeah.
had to break up with somebody and have their own reasons for
Mhm.
not explaining, or reasons that they did explain, or maybe for staying in a relationship they didn't want to be in because
Right.
they didn't know
Right.
how to
Yeah.
break up. And if they felt safe, even though they were not having a
Right.
good time, that's also a choice.
And I think something that I learned actually in that is to speak up sooner. So when I was becoming, new connections with people, being able to address those conflicts of discomfort sooner, and maybe with less stakes. So that way then we can build on a friendship of understanding each other, of who each other are earlier. That way then this situation that doesn't happen where, oh, we are now so different people. So I've definitely learned that from that situation, and also it helps me be a more conflict competent person as
Yeah.
well, because I'm actually able to address things as they come up sooner.
The other piece that I like about our having this discussion is that it's also conflict analysis.
Hmm.
We're looking at learning from what we learned. So
Right.
we're doing this double loop learning, which is
Mhm.
another conflict competency. So thank you very much for listening. I hope you'll subscribe to our podcast, like it, share it, leave a comment. Tell us a story about a time that you stayed in a relationship or broke up well. Thank you.